Nice.
Hey!
Yeah.
Yeah! That's a nice
What are
one.
you talking about,
That's the
bud?
one we were looking for right there.
We've got a beautiful 21-inch walleye. Woo! We're eating good now, boys. Nice job, brother.
Right.
Yeah.
That's about what we were after, eh, Steve?
Oh, thanks.
The Fishin' Canada Show, brought to you in part by Princecraft Boats, the spirit of boating. Garmin, tell a new fish story. The Outdoor Journal Radio Podcast Network, every pursuit, every platform, every day. And Ontario, Canada, in partnership with Destination Ontario.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Fishin' Canada Show.
As you saw in a previous episode, Ange and I spent our first trip of the season taking full advantage of one of Nordic Point Lodge's specialties, a fantastic walleye and smallmouth population on Perrault Lake
and the surrounding area.
What you didn't see, however, was our second boat, FNC3, if you will.
That's right, folks. Like many high-end Northern Ontario lodges, 3 days just isn't enough to get the full experience. That's why on this shoot, we employ the help of some familiar faces to help us showcase all that Nordic Point Lodge has to offer.
Joining us on this shoot is Steve Niedzwiecki and Dean Taylor. Steve is a longtime friend of the show, former lodge owner, and frequent co-host of the Fishin' Canada Show. Dean has spent the last 2 years behind the scenes, but is now migrating in front of the camera as our newest co-host.
Together, Steve and Dean are being given two very important tasks. While Pete and I are out chasing walleye, the boys are playing host to our friends at TD, winners of the Eric Lindros Easter Seals charity auction, and giving them the full Northern Ontario experience, Shorelunch and all. After that, we're sending them on a plane ride to chase down trophy walleye on one of Nordic Point's many flyout lakes. But before all that, it's time to go scouting.
Welcome, folks, to the Fishin' Canada Show. I am so excited to be out here with Dean and Will Pulowski from Nordic Point Lodge on beautiful Perrault Lake. So this is our first stop, Will.
Yes.
What are we targeting here and how are we doing it?
So we are after post-spawn walleyes this morning, Steve.
Yeah.
Areas that we're going to fish today are more current-driven. They're deep water retreats. Kind of our secondary drop-off points.
Yes.
Which is what we would call
And
them.
it's the 1st of June, so that sounds...
It's right in their wheelhouse.
Right
You
in
might
the
see some
wheelhouse.
fish suspended. They might be on bottom. It's going to kind of be a little all over the place.
It's kind of hard to drop a line everywhere, so we're just using the live scope and kind of scoping all this out. And if we're not seeing them, we're not going to stop for very long.
Fish on the fly as we're looking, eh?
Yeah, yeah. So we are seeing a few on bottom, eh, Will? Has that been the pattern lately?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to get a few on bottom, and you get the odd one suspended right now with that post-spawn pattern right now. So when they're kind of hanging in the center there, they're typically not feeding. They're going to come down to feed, or they're going to come up. So,
but those are normally the bigger ones, though, eh?
Correct.
Yeah,
Absolutely correct. Yeah.
So that's what we're looking for here. If we can stop on the suspended ones, the wind makes it hard, especially in a big pontoon boat, but this thing actually handles pretty nice.
Absolutely.
Nice.
That's a great.
That's a beautiful walleye.
What a beautiful fish, Steve.
It's so beautiful.
Wanna let her go?
Yeah, let's get her back.
That's what we need for tomorrow, boys, right there.
Willie, what's going on here, brother?
Oh, I just pitched up by that stump, Steve, and into a decent walleye here, I think.
Beautiful. It's looking good. Oh, is it ever a dandy?
This one might not be too bad.
Oh,
This one will be pretty good.
Oh,
Hey!
yeah. Really, boy. Those are the Perrault Lake fish you're talking about,
That's the
bud.
ones we were looking for right there.
That's the fish you're talking about.
Looks like them
Oh my
Easter
God.
Seals boys are going to have a good trip out.
Oh, yes.
That's a nice one.
Thank you. Look at that. Like, look at my forearm. It's my whole arm. There you go, buddy. Go home. That is a perfect eating fish right there. Perfect eating fish.
That's a nice walleye.
Absolutely. There we go.
Steven, I'll let you take that one out, sir.
Oh, wow. You know, I appreciate that. Just a little finesse the whole way. Another beautiful walleye right there. Perrault Lake. Now that is a beautiful eating fish. Will's got the conservation rules that we love to follow, and that one is right there. And down you go. He saw the water coming. He started kicking right out of my hand. Thanks, buddy.
With a GPS full of waypoints, Dean re-rigged the FishfinderMounts.com portable live scope bundle to the luxury Princecraft pontoon, reconverting this party barge into a proper fish-catching machine. The key to doing this is the main reason we teamed up with the guys at FishfinderMounts.com, as virtually no other portable kit on the market is as adaptable and as well made as the units they offer. In this scenario, Dean is able to run his live scope on a 9-foot pole, and the battery should last for 2 full days.
After the boat was fully rigged, our guests met the boys down at the dock and boarded the pontoon for a smooth ride, gliding over 2-foot waves to the first spot of the day. It didn't take long to see that pre-fishing was gonna pay off.
Oh, it's a beauty.
Pay off, other than one little problem, and one that most anglers would love to have. The fish they're catching are too big.
We've got a beautiful 21-inch walleye. And at Nordic Point Lodge, Will has a conservation policy where everything 18 inches goes back in the water, which every lodge owner that's responsible and wants to look after their fishery should do that. So even though it would be wonderful in the pan, we're gonna go out and get some more, and we're gonna get them under 18, and we're gonna eat like kings.
Throwing back a good portion of their lunch is giving Steve and Dean flashbacks.
Go home.
As 2 guys with experience guiding, not delivering a shore lunch is a nightmare scenario, one that both guys can proudly say has never materialized. Today, however, they are dangerously close to making it a reality.
By 11:30 a.m., the guys have exhausted the majority of their waypoints, and they're hearing stomachs starting to rumble. Feigning confidence and feeling desperation, Steve and Dean decide to head to the Shorelunch spot and pray that the point at the end of the island is holding the rest of their lunch. Hopefully their prayers will be answered.
So they have been coming out of the deeper stuff, and these fish are right on the border of what we can eat today. The lodge has a self-enforced 18-inch policy to try to make sure we're mostly eating the males. And these fish are right on that borderline here. There's also another one right here, a little bit suspended.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
it's a
big
northern.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah!
Yeah, man!
Oh. We're eating good now, boys. Yes.
That is the perfect eater scope.
That is, this is going to be a feast.
Oh, I can't wait to eat
It
mine.
is going to be a feast. Absolutely. Oh, we'll get that. If you put your fingers right down inside here, not on the gills, but inside his mouth, just like that, and you roll and jack it open, he can't, but bad things live
Those teeth.
right there and right there. And they're all forward facing, right? And these guys here, a beautiful eating northern pike here. Yeah, oh, you're gonna hold it. You're gonna hold it, and we're taking pictures. Nice job, brother. Right, yeah.
Steve is especially thankful for Scotty's Northern, as none of the guests of the boat had ever thought about, let alone eaten, a northern pike. With the right cleaning technique, we swear these fish can give walleye a run for their money any day. It's safe to say their guests agreed.
As mentioned off the top, one of the unique things about this shoot was just how many options there are to achieve your dream fishing experience. On the third and final day, Steve and Dean get to sample one of the fan favorites at Nordic Point Lodge, a fly out to a remote walleye lake.
Dean and I are heading out to a fly-in day trip here at Nordic Point Lodge. And one thing I want to point out, it's extremely important to pack light on these trips. And when you're going into these back lakes, the key is to talk to your outfitter, in this case, Will, find out what you need for tackle, and then key on it.
2 spinning rods, 2 casting rods, that's all we really need. When you bring more than that, you're just stepping on everything and we might not even come back with them. We've got our live scope and a backup just in case. We've got our life jackets, obviously, our net, and I don't think we'll need a whole lot more than that, eh?
Nordic Point Lodge has several options for flyouts, but for this trip, Steve and Dean have their pick of 2. First is Zanzania Lake, a small crater known for extraordinary numbers of eater-sized walleye. Option 2 is Sup Lake, a large body of water notorious for tough fishing, but providing a serious chance at a fish of a lifetime. The boys opt for option 2. Spirits are high when they touch down on Sup. The boys unload onto a dock at a breathtaking outpost cabin, mount their live scope on the boat, and strip down as the sun pounds the water. However, within 10 minutes of the plane leaving, the wind from Perrault Lake catches up with them, bringing in gusts of 50-kilometer winds and scattering rain that'll stick to them for the rest of the day.
It was nice for a minute.
Folks, we're 5 minutes, not even, 4 minutes away from the cottage. And I was in beautiful sun, jacket off, sun's out, guns out, and man, am I ever happy I got this jacket, boy, because it's cold now. It's cold now.
The benefit of this weather is that the boys have become pretty used to it throughout the trip, giving them a good idea of the patterns these fish will be in, wind-blown points and islands being the target of choice. And it wasn't long until this theory was once again confirmed.
So we got a warning from the pilot on the way in here that this lake tends to fish kind of tough. And it's actually because there's so much bait in here that you're competing with just a huge food source. Oh, I got one. Oh, it was a pike. I think it broke me right off. I saw him on the screen too, he's chasing it.
Good for you.
Well, all right.
So folks, I just wanted to let you know what we've got going on today. We're flying in to Sup Lake, and this is one of those situations that I love, but it can be a little bit stressful because we're flying into a lake where right off the bat, we got a warning from the pilot who said that you're gonna need big baits, big live suckers. And that's because the fish here are massive. And I'm a trophy hunter. I love big fish. But we're competing with a huge forage base, and we're fishing in conditions where we're dealing with the 30 to 40 mile an hour gusts coming right down the pipe. So what we're doing is we're using the elements to our advantage right now. And believe it or not, we've got about a 1.4 to 1.6 mile an hour drift going. and I'm trolling the Ozuri out the back here, and we're gonna try and use Mother Nature to help us find some giants.
So this is what we've kind of been contending with all day. If you look here on the live scope, this little point we have here is absolutely loaded with bait. There's been some walleye and stuff mixed in, but trying to pick through this bait when it's this competitive has been quite the task so far. We are getting the odd hit, but we may have to try a new approach here to try to separate us from this pack. I think I got something little here. Hopefully we don't need the net.
Don't need the net?
I don't think so. Oh, yeah. No, it's just a little pike, but we'll net it because I don't want to lose this bait, Steve. We packed light today, like we said at the start. And the only downside of that is that with pike like this around, you lose a lot of tackle. You can see these things, these little black dots everywhere. We get asked about these all the time by people. It's actually called black spot disease, and it's a worm that lays eggs in the skin. A lot of people are scared of eating them. You can actually eat them, but it gives the fillet a bit of texture, but that's what that is. You get them on perch a lot, you get them on pike, you get them on crappie a ton, but almost every pike I find in Kenora here has them. The fish, it doesn't really harm them, but it does spread when they get eaten.
Yeah, there's
nice.
one. Yeah.
How's it feel?
We're right in that, I just picked it up and dropped it down, and you know, it's...
You want to get the net on that?
No.
No, you're good?
A baby northern.
Yeah.
Little baby northern. That's okay, caught him right in the beak. Just picked it up off the bottom and give it a little shake, and I felt as I let it go, he nipped it. As soon as he nipped it, I poked him right in the beak, and you know what? I'm thankful for that because I've got a light floral leader on, and a northern this size would go right through that leader very quickly. Okay, go home. There you go, off like a rocket.
Today's hotspot is a deep break on Sup Lake, one of Nordic Point Lodge's fly-out destinations.
The waypoint on your screen will get you there. When visiting a lodge like Nordic Point, if by chance they offer a daily fly-out opportunity, then you really should consider trying it out. It gives anglers a unique add-on to an already excellent adventure. Dean and Steve trolled Yozuris looking for either roaming fish or good structure, and then drifted over likely-looking shoals, humps, rock points, and break lines. Covering water was the key. For more hotspots like this one, check out fishingcanada.com.
It's not big at all. I just hit him on the bottom of the mouth, so he was coming in sideways. I'm just gonna grab him. That hand. Oh, that's disappointing. I really thought that was gonna be a bigger northern.
Or walleye.
And walleye would have been nice, but it felt like a northern. There we go. Yeah, definitely not what we're after, but fun to catch anyways. It felt huge. A bit disappointing. Send it back.
Attaboy, Dino.
Yeah, that's not small. We'll get the net on that one, Steve, if you can.
I've got her. Don't you worry, brother.
That's staying right to bottom. Usually when they stick down like this, they're normally pretty good walleye. My ability to guess the species, though, today hasn't been great. Yeah, I haven't even got a look at it yet, Steve.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna come around this other side, just taking a run on this side. Oh, yeah, there it is. That's a good one. That's a good walleye.
Oh, Dino.
Nice.
Oh, yeah, baby. That's the one. That's the walleye
what we've been waiting
there
for.
We're looking for, brother.
Here, pass this back, Steve.
There you go. I'm going to pass this net to you. And you can do the honors. Just why we got a lot of equipment in a little boat.
And look at it. Look at this. Straighten the hook completely out as soon as it got in the net. That was really lucky. That's a big fish, so I'm not surprised it could do that.
That's just the way we play it.
I'm gonna bring it around this other side of the boat. So we've been hearing all about the big walleye in this lake, and we had an option to come out to a numbers lake, but Steve and I wanted to go for some bigger ones, and that's the first one we've seen of that kind.
That's why a dandy.
That's why we picked this lake over the others. We were looking for some big ones, and that's about what we were after, eh, Steve?
Oh, you think?
Oh, yeah. That's a beautiful fish.
Beautiful walleye.
Right back. She's gone.
Atta boy, Dino.
As the boys were warned, this ends up being the only big fish of the day. But it's tough to complain when your fishing destination looks like this.
We want to give a final thank you to everyone involved in this shoot. To Wilderness Air for getting the boys in and out of Sup Lake. To our friends at TD for their generous donation to the Easter seals. And of course, to Will and Krista Pawlowski for donating the trip and letting us showcase their incredible fishery.
Getting There. Brought to you by the Outdoor Journal Radio Podcast Network.
To get to today's unique fishing destination, we first drove north on Highway 400, which eventually turns into Highway 69. We next turned west on Trans-Canada Highway 17. We continued on 17 all the way to Highway 105, then traveled north on 105 until we reached Nordic Point Lodge. Located in the heart of northwestern Ontario, Nordic Point Lodge offers all the comforts of home and much more. Enjoy fine dining, private cabins, a sauna, a fitness center, an elite boat fleet, as well as expert guides for an unforgettable experience. After a full fish-catching day on Perrault Lake, relax on the deck of your private lakefront cottage or on the beautiful, spacious deck at the main lodge's dining room. Trust us, Nordic Point Lodge will leave you full of lasting memories.
The Fishin' Canada Show, brought to you in part by Yozuri Fishing Lures, fish the best. Mercury Outboards, go boldly. And Outdoor Canada, Canada's only national fishing and hunting magazine.
Closed captioning for this episode is brought to you by FishingCanada.com, the gateway to your next fishing adventure.
Come